Good morning everyone. Myself Professor Sudke SS of SND COE and Research Center Evla, working as Assistant Professor at Electrical Department. Now we will discuss the subject of Advanced Microcontroller and Embedded System, in which we discuss the topic of Unit 1, that is Introduction. In this subject we discuss the topic of Preprocessor Directives in detail. First of all, we discuss the Preprocessor Directives. The Preprocessor Directives are lines included in a program that begin with the character hash, which make them different from a typical source code text. They are invoked by the compiler to process some programs before compilation. The preprocessor directives change the text of the source code, and the result is a new source code without these directives. Then second one is, what does preprocessor directive mean? The preprocessor directives are lines included in a program that begin with the character hash, which make them different from a typical source code text. They are invoked by the compiler to process some programs before compilation. Then the preprocessor directives change the text of the source code, and the result is a new source code without these directives. The preprocessor system is bigger in the computer system, therefore the next one is, although preprocessing in C hash is conceptually similar to that in C, it is different in two aspects. First, preprocessing in C hash does not involve a separate step for preprocessor execution before compilation. It is proceed as a part of the lexical analysis phase. Second, it cannot be used to create macros. Then in addition, the new directives hash region and hash unregion have been added in C hash, along with the exclusion of some directives used earlier in bracket. Hash include is a notable directive whose use is replaced with using to include assemblies. Bracket complete. Then Java does not support preprocessor directives. The only C programming language and C++ programming language supports the preprocessor directives in the computer system, but Java does not support the preprocessor directives since it is a advanced and object-oriented programming language in the computer system. Then Tapopedia explains preprocessor directive. According to the Tapopedia, a preprocessor directive is usually placed in the top of the source code in a separate line beginning with the character hash, followed by directive name and an optional white space before and after it. Because a comment on the same line of declaration of the preprocessor directive has to be used and cannot scroll through the following line, delimited comments cannot be used. A preprocessor directive statement must not end with a semicolon. Then the preprocessor directives can be defined in source code or in the command line as argument during compilation. Then we discuss some examples for preprocessing directives. The examples for preprocessing directives that can be used in C hash includes the points like hash defined and hash undefined. to define and undefined conditional compilation symbols respectively. These symbols could be checked during compilation and the required section of source code can be compiled. The scope of a symbol is the file in which it is defined. #if, #elif, #else and #endif to skip part of source code based on conditions. Then conditional sections may be nested with directives forming complete sets. #line to control line numbers generated for errors and warning. This is mostly used by metaprogramming tools to generate C# source code from some text input. It is generally used to modify the line numbers and source file names reported by the compiler in its output. Thank you.